Thank you for attending this EBSCO Business Source Premier overview for the Idaho Commission for Libraries. My name is Shayna, and I am a Senior Customer Training Specialist with EBSCO. I'll be presenting today's session. I've got a background in education, but I've been working in technology since 2005, supporting our EBSCO clients in North America. We do have an objective, or a few objectives today, which include reviewing the Business Source Premier database. We'll cover searching and browsing content. You'll be comfortable with refining your search results, being able to locate key journals via publication search. We'll also review some additional search options like exploring company profiles, case studies, SWOT analyses, and employing our tools, which include saving, citing, sharing. Before I get started with the demo, I like to provide a definition of what our databases are. And since today we're featuring a Business Source Premier, I define it as the most comprehensive collection of business information for a wide range of markets and applications with premium content and current information to support all of your business research needs. You will find a lot of content, business content, full text content in Business Source Premier with over 2,300 business magazines, journals, and trade publications, over 8,000 case studies, over 15,700 company profiles, conference papers, economic reports, over 7,000 industry reports, over 100 market research reports, over 75,000 videos from the Associated Press, over or almost 200 working papers, and over 5,500 SWOT analyses. In terms of the active full text journals by region and country, we have a lot. So you'll find within this database journals covering countries like Latin America, or regions like Latin America and the Caribbean, the Middle East, North Africa, the Netherlands, Flanders, Nordic countries, Southeast Asia, and South Asia, we have over 52 journals. We cover Spain, Sub-Saharan Africa, over 300 in the UK and Ireland, and of course, more than 400 in the United States. Continue on, you will find we have full text journals also in Australia and New Zealand, Canada, in Central and Eastern Europe, China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, French-speaking Europe, German-speaking Europe. We have a ton of resources. And we also cover Italy, Italian, Switzerland, and Korea. In terms of our leading business magazines, we provide ongoing full text with no embargo for these leading business magazines, including Inc., Fast Company, Forbes, Fortune, Harvard Business Review, Entrepreneur, Bloomberg Business Week, and Kiplinger's. And regarding Harvard Business Review, we have access to active full text dating back to 1922 with no embargo. In terms of our trade publications, we provide a number of publications depicted here, including Ad Age, American Banker, Automotive News, ENR, which also contain no embargo. In terms of company information that you'll find in Business Source Premier, we provide access to important company overviews, key facts, business descriptions, company history, key employees, executive biographies, major products and services, top competitors, a company view, and locations and subsidiaries. Most of our company profiles are provided by MarketLine. In addition to that, you'll find comprehensive country, industry, and market research data, including over 8,000 case studies, 7,000 industry reports, over 100 market research reports, and over 900 company reports provided by providers like BMI Research, IHS Markit, MarketLine, and Country Watch. So with that, we are ready for our live demonstration. So I'll exit out of this. And first, I'll start on the lilly.org to show you where you can access Business Source Premier. So on this landing page, you can either enter Business Source Premier in the database field or browse by topics in the topic dropdown, or by user groups, you can also utilize the A to Z listing here. So to pull up all business resources, I'm going to use the drop-down menu to select business in the center of our screen. And I'll go ahead and click go. And that will provide our listing of business resources. And at the top is Business Source Premier. Okay, so accessing this on site will give you access to the database, and I'm going to pull up that database now. So let's just pretend I've authenticated. Now I'm looking at the Business Source Premier database. We have the keyword search box here where we can enter a keyword to conduct a search. Notice that there is a drop down to the left of that keyword search box. We can also conduct a search for company and industry, by author, by publication, by subject as well. You have other options here to conduct an advanced search, to access your search history, and you can also browse by company profiles, by country reports, by industry profiles, and market research reports. To get started, though, I'm going to start with just a basic search. I'm going to enter transportation logistics in the search box. Notice that as I start typing, suggestions will be automatically presented to me. I don't see mine, so I'll continue typing logistics. And I'll go ahead and execute my search. And of course, it logged me out. So let me go ahead, for demonstration purposes, re-enter the credentials to pop into your version of Business Source Premier. Just bear with me for one moment while I do that. Got my credentials on another screen, so I will paste that in. And as it always happens when I'm demoing is when my authentication fails at the appropriate times. All right, so I'll go ahead and choose Business Source Premier from your Select Services page, and we're back here. So let me go ahead and enter transportation logistics again. I can spell it. All right, so that brings me to my search results for that keyword, or key phrase, rather. It brings me to over 5,000 search results. It's displaying the first 10 at a time within this classic EBSCO host interface. I have the ability to sort by date newest, which is the default here, so it's providing the most recently published resources. I can also choose to sort by source, by author, or by relevance based on my keyword phrase. I can also choose to increase the number of results per page if I want, with the options in page options, that drop-down menu. We also can share. If I want to share the search results here, I can conduct choose to share those results, add my search query to a folder to access and run again. I can also access a persistent link to these search results. If I'd like to conduct a query and then share my search results with a colleague or with a patron, I can access that persistent or permalink there under the share options. But let's take a look at these 5,000 results, all right? So running down the list of 10, you see the title for the articles, the source, and the full text viewing option, whether it be HTML or PDF. We don't want to go through 5,000 of anything. So what we'll want to do is come over to the refine results column over here to refine our search results set down to a more manageable, more relevant set. Maybe what I'll do before I do that is, instead of, I'm not right now interested in the most recently published resource, so maybe I'm going to sort by relevance. It's going to change the resources that are presented to me. Still the same set of 5,008, but now sorted by relevance based on that keyword or key phrase I've entered. So now I'm going to come over to my refine results column here, and I can at first take a look at some limiters. Possibly I'm interested in only articles that contain references, or only peer-reviewed resources, or image quick view resources that contain images. Maybe I'm interested in refining or narrowing the publication date Notice in the from field that 1961 is presented and 2024 is presented in the to field. 1961 represents the earliest published date within my search results set. So since I'm looking at articles pertaining to transportation logistics, maybe I'm interested in more recently published resources. I can either enter a different from date, a more recent date, or I can choose to use the publication date slider to bring me forward to a more recent published date. Maybe I'm interested in articles published within the last 10 years. So I'll go ahead and keep that 2014 to 2024 and notice how my search results will automatically update, bringing me from 5,000 to just 1,000 search results. All right, so some facets that I can take a look at within my search results set of 1,037 now include limiting by source type. So I'll expose that caret to show the different source types. So maybe I'm only interested in newspapers, maybe magazines. I'll actually go back down there. So it's updating to the 157 newspapers now. We'll include academic journals, and one more will include magazines. So I've limited to those 3 source types, bringing me down to just 284 search results. Continuing on down my list of facets, I can actually look at the different subject thesaurus terms or author supplied keywords. Exposing the thesaurus terms, maybe I'm interested in transportation logistics as it relates to corporate profits or business revenue. I won't choose to select any of these thesaurus terms. Let's take a look at the author supplied keywords. Maybe I'm interested in transportation as logistics as it relates to corporate profits or stock prices or relative strength index securities. We can also take a look at the publications available within my search results set. So maybe I'm only interested in articles published in Investors Business Daily or Global Banking News. The hit counts in brackets let you know how many resources are in your search results set that pertain to global banking news. In this case, we see that there are 25. I'll go ahead and choose this one, and you'll notice how my search results set now just displays those 25. Notice how every limiter or facet that I am employing is being kept track of at the top of my refine results section here, what we call the bread box. And if I wanted to revert to a previous search result set, all I would need to do is exit out of one of these. And I'm going to actually exit out of the publication limiter here. And that brings me back to 223 search results. So you can see how employing any of these options here, these facets, allows us to refine our search results. Additional facets include refining by company name, industry code, and by database. All right, so we see that we have just 223 now from the original 5,000 that we started out with. I'm going to actually limit or remove some of these limiters. Actually, it brought me back to newspapers. I'm going to include magazines because hopefully I can show you more than the HTML full text options. I want to get a PDF as well. So I'll go back and include some magazines. So here we go. We have some options. Hopefully I can find one with both options, PDF and HTML in the search results set. So let's go and maybe advance to another page. And I don't see any. So what I'll do is go back to the first page of search results, maybe play around with some more of those limiters that I selected. So I'm going to keep the 2014 limiter. Maybe I will include trade publications. That should probably provide us some magazine, some PDF and HTML options, and we'll take a look. And maybe not. Oh, there we go. Transportation logistics. It has 2 full text viewing options. So let's take a look at search result set number 7. I'll click, actually, let me go into the detailed record for this. Before I dive into the full text, there are some things I can take a look at. I can click transportation logistics to get to the detailed record, which provides me a lot of information about this article prior to accessing the full text. But if I come over to the far right, you'll notice a little magnifying glass icon. If I just place my cursor, hover over that icon, it pulls up the Abstract, so I can review a summary of the article prior to diving into the full text options. It also provides me some important information like the author, the source, the publication date, the publication type. But I'm going to go ahead and go to that detailed record. I can click that right here in that little pop-up window, but if I X out, it takes me back to the search results set. I can also access the detailed record by clicking the title. So I'll do that first, and that will bring me to all the information I need about this article, including the author's name. Clicking that author's name will actually conduct a search for additional works by or about that author. We can see the source here. If I wanted to get information about this particular publication, I can link to it. I can conduct a subsequent search based on subject terms related to my main term. So we can see transportation logistics, and some related terms include freight and freightage or infrastructure. We have the abstract here, which is a summary of the article, and some unique identifiers like the ISSN and accession number. But I'm going to go ahead and view one of those full text viewing options. I'll click over here on the detailed record. I can view the HTML and the PDF, and we'll start with the HTML. So we'll click that open. And now we're taking a look at the article stripped of any formatting and imagery, and it's just delivering the text. So I can read this article, the full text of the article, right within my viewer. I do have some options here for the HTML version. Since it's stripped of all imagery and formatting, there are some benefits. It's an accessibility feature to strip it of that information, but you can also, accessibility-wise, have the article read aloud with the listen and play button right at the top of the article. I can click play to have this read aloud. Let me just make sure that I'm sharing my audio here. And I'll go ahead and click play.
Transportation logistics. Advisory. Contents. 1. Transportation roundtable, perspectives and industry in flux. 2. No place to park, big rig road.
So I'm just going to pause that audio, and you can see the ability to stop the audio, control the volume, control the playback speed, and exit out of the text-to-speech option. If you were to select maybe just a section of the full text, it will then just read that section aloud as well. So that's your text-to-speech. Let me exit out of this little notice here. All right, so as we scroll down actually to the right of our HTML article, we have some tools. So within our tools options in the right panel, we have integration with OneDrive. We can add this article to a temporary session folder with that folder icon. We can access printing, emailing, and saving options. We can even access the citation tool. Clicking that cite tool in the left on the right column gives us access to 9 different citation formats. I can choose a format and copy and paste that citation directly into my research. We also have the ability to export using our tools, our citation management tools of choice, including RIS, XML, BibTeX, Mark 21, EndNote, EasyBib, Noodle tools, and so forth. I also have the ability under our tools to create a note. If I want to create notes as I review an article, I have that note taker. And then I can access the persistent or permalink to this article. If I want to share this with a colleague or patron or student, I can then copy and paste that permalink right from the permalink icon, the paperclip icon. So those are my tools. Let me actually now go and show you the PDF version. We're currently looking at the HTML. We'll open up the PDF version of the same article, and that brings us to the PDF viewer. I'll wait for this to load before I continue talking. And now we're taking a look at the same article, complete with formatting and imagery. So it's as if we're looking at the article right within the source, which in this case, over to the left, you can see the source is ENR Engineering News Record, dated March 21st, 2022. I'm going to scroll through this article. We have thumbnails over on the left if we just want to advance to a page, or we can scroll on the right. Notice at the top right corner of this PDF viewer, I can download this article for offline use. It will download as a PDF, and I also have options to print. The three dots give me access to annotations, two-page view, and document properties within this PDF viewer. I also have options to increase or decrease the zoom for this article for accessibility reasons. If I need to increase the font or the zoom, I can. And I can also advance to a page with the little window here by entering a page number. And that will advance me to page 4 of 7 here. Notice in the far right, we still have those same tools. They've just been condensed due to the PDF viewer, but you still have the option for the OneDrive cloud, your printing, emailing, folder, permalink, citation, all available on the far right. Over on the left, the PDF viewer gives you some additional options for viewing. So it does let you know what the source is, the date for this article. You can also see additional articles within this issue for ENR for March 21st. We're currently reviewing the article on page 43, Transportation Today. Transportation logistics, I should say. We also have the ability to view other articles within this issue. I'll go ahead and click the first one, infrastructure, and we'll load this to see. It's called infrastructure investments. And now I'm taking a look at that article, the best of the best 2021. Another article. I can also, in addition to viewing articles within this particular issue dated March 21st, 2022, I can choose another issue. I'll click the little caret to expose the other issues by year. So maybe I'm interested in a more recent issue. I'll choose 2024 for ENR, Engineering News Record, and I'll take a look at the issue published on March 21st, 2024, issue number 4, volume 292. And now we're taking a look at ENR, dated March 25th, 2024, and these are all of the articles, okay? So the PDF does give you a lot more flexibility to browse the actual publication issue to view additional articles, okay? So those are your PDF and HTML options. We'll go back to the result list. All right, so we are looking at 360 search results. Maybe I want to dive deeper with my search. I just entered a keyword search. Maybe I am interested in accessing some advanced search features. So right below that search box, I can click advanced search, and that will carry over my keyword search, but it gives me additional fields to enter additional phrases or terms to conduct a search. So maybe I'm interested in this case, transportation logistics and artificial intelligence. So I'll go ahead and choose that from the suggestions instead of completely typing it in. So I'm interested in transportation, logistics, and artificial intelligence. We have some other options here on the advanced search screen. I can play around with the different search modes. Right now I'm doing a keyword phrase search. Maybe I can change that to find all, which will automatically and my search, even though I've employed the and Boolean operator here. We can choose to find any, which would be oring my search. I could also do that with the Boolean operator here. I can also apply related words, conduct a search to expand, to search for those terms within the full text of the article, not just in the top layer of metadata, i.e. as in looking for the terms in the abstract or the title and so forth. I also have some limiters here. I can limit to the linked full text, limit by publication date. When moving from basic to advanced search, it doesn't keep our filters we previously applied. So maybe I do want to update my earliest pub date to 2020. I don't have to enter 2024. It will automatically bring me to the present year for that publication date. I have additional options here, image quick view types. Maybe I'm interested in an article that contains a color photograph or a map. We also have some special limiters for Business Source Premier. So maybe I'm interested in a particular document type, like a company report or an industry overview. I can take a look at publication types. Maybe I'm interested in trade publication, for instance, cover story. I can also enter a particular company name or ticker symbol or industry code. So I have a lot of options here for refining my search prior to executing it. But I'm going to stick with just the 2020 start year to the present for transportation, logistics, and artificial intelligence. One other thing that I could do is employ a citation field code to qualify my search. So let's say I was interested in transportation logistics in the title of an article. I could choose TI for title. I won't bother. I'm just going to go ahead and click search to execute my advanced search. And doing so, utilizing advanced search, brings me to a much more manageable search result set of 40 resources. And we have our same refined results options over on the left if we want to limit even further. So that's advanced search. To clear our search, I can click New Search in the upper left corner, and I'm going to go ahead and do that so I can move on to other search options within Business Source Premier. So that brings us back to our basic search page for Business Source Premier. I do want to talk about thesaurus search. So there are some options in the upper left corner rather. Next to that new search button, you have thesaurus search, you have publications search, you have images search, you have company profile search. Let's start with thesaurus search. I'm going to click that. And that is going to bring me to a page where I can search the thesaurus for Business Source Premier. All right, so now I'm going to be, instead of conducting a keyword search, I'm going to conduct a subject heading search for terms as they are indexed in this database. So instead of entering something in the search box here, I'll come down to the browsing business thesaurus and I will browse for a subject term. Maybe I'm interested in searching for a term like global markets. Maybe that's my topic of interest. I can go ahead and choose to search that subject term with term begins with, term contains, or relevancy ranked. The default is term begins with, so I'll stick with that. And then I'll go ahead and click browse to search for global market in the business thesaurus. All right, so below that, we can see the term that I entered could not be found, but below is a listing of related terms. So let me scroll through. Business global market was not indexed in business thesaurus, but there are some similar terms. Global marketing, I'm not actually interested in global marketing. Let's take a look as we scroll down. Maybe I'm interested in global trade. And it says if I'm interested in global trade, the actual indexed term within business thesaurus is international trade. And that is hyperlinked. So I'm going to go ahead and click that international trade hyperlink, and it's going to give me some details about this term as it's indexed in the business thesaurus. We see we have some similar or related terms to international trade, maybe international trade in agriculture, maybe non-renewable natural resources and international trade. Each are hyperlinks to more information, but I am interested in international trade. So let me go ahead and take a look at that international trade hyperlink. One other thing to note, to the far right, notice that there is an explode tick box next to international trade. And I'll explain what that means by clicking on that hyperlink for international trade. That's going to bring me to a page that talks about the scope notes for international trade. So it defines that within the business thesaurus. It also lets you know what the broader terms for international trade include, and those are commerce and international economic relations. And then there are narrower terms that are subterms within international trade. So I can see that within international trade, there are subject headings that include automobile exports and imports, for instance, or counter trade, or east-west trade, exports, free trade, international trade disputes, and I can choose any one of these. These are all narrower terms. So when I explode international trade, what it will do is it will include all of the narrower terms within my search. I don't want to include all of these narrower terms because there are many, and it's a broad range of topics. There are also related terms below this list of narrower terms, but let's take a look at the narrower terms. Maybe I am interested in global markets. international trade and economic sanctions. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with international trade. So I'm going to tick that main topic, and then I'm interested in economic sanctions, which are related terms. So let me scroll down here. And I see economic sanctions as a related term, but I'll click that tick box. So I've clicked 2 terms, and then I can add these terms to my search by combining them using and, or I can expand my search to search for international trade and economic sanctions, but I want to combine those terms. So I'll click the and then I'll click the add button. And notice how my search is now built: international trade and economic sanctions. And then I'll go ahead and execute my subject heading search. And that brings me to just 108 search results. So these are, by definition, more relevant because we're searching the subject headings as they're indexed in the Business Source Premier database, as opposed to conducting a keyword search. Keyword searching would only look for your terms in the top layer of metadata, which include the title, the author, the source, the subject headings, as well as the abstract. But the source search takes a look at the terms as they're indexed in the database. All right, so let's move on from the source search. I do want to conduct a publication search. Let me see if we have any questions in the chat. I don't see any, so I'm going to clear my search. I'll click new search here. And we'll move on. So we just took a look at thesaurus. Now we're going to take a look at publications. So we can search for publications in the databases that have been selected: Business Source Premier and Regional Business News. I'm going to stick with Business Source Premier since the database, that's the database we're talking about today. So within Business Source Premier, I can search for publications. This would be a title level search. Everything I've conducted up until this point has been an article level search. So now I'm taking a look at the publications that are part of the Business Source Premier database. I can conduct a search by entering a keyword for a publication, and I can conduct that search alphabetically by title, subject, and description, or by country of origin. I'll stick to alphabetical. We can also scan through our A to Z listing, but I'm going to go ahead and enter Harvard. And I know that Harvard Business Review is one of the publications that we have access to with no embargo to full text from 1922. So I'm going to go ahead and browse that. And clicking that browse gives me a list of publications with Harvard Business in the title. So we see Harvard Business Manager. The next one is Harvard Business Review. And some details are provided here. We can see that we have access, as I mentioned in our upfront screens slides, that we have access to Harvard Business Review from 1922 to the present with no embargo. And we have access to, that's the bibliographic records, but actually we can see full text also from 1922 to the present. And we can view these articles as PDFs or as HTML full text. If I want to get more details about the Harvard Business Review, I can click this hyperlink, which will bring me to the publication details for Harvard Business Review, providing even more information. Like the publisher's URL, the frequency of publication, the description for the publication. And we see to the far right access to all issues and articles by year going back to 1922, okay? If I wanted to expose maybe the most recent issues from 2024 rather, I can click that little plus sign, and we have 2 issues available, one from January, February 2024, and the next issue, number 2, from March, April 2024. These are hyperlinks which will execute a search and deliver all articles published in issue 2 for March, April 2024. So I can do that. I'm going to go ahead and click that hyperlink, and it's going to bring me to the 30 articles published within Harvard Business Review for March, April 2024. And you can see that is highlighted in the search results. All right. Let me go back. I'm going to click back to the publication details page. In addition to searching or viewing articles by year and by issue and volume, I also have the ability to search within the Harvard Business Review by clicking the search within this publication hyperlink right above the publication details on the left. So clicking search within loads my search, JN for journal, Harvard Business Review quotes, and then I can add a term. Maybe I'm interested in leadership articles published in the Harvard Business Review. So I'll include that in my search, and then I'll go ahead and execute it. And that brings me to all articles in the Harvard Business Review related to leadership. So we can see that the source for each of these search results includes Harvard Business Review. The search results are sorted by relevance. If I wanted to search for the most recent articles published in the Harvard Business Review relating to leadership, I can change that sort to date newest. Okay, so that is your publications search. Let me just go back to the publication details page to highlight. Actually, I'll click that again and just quickly just type it again instead of going back. Here. So we have the publication details by clicking that hyperlink. One thing I did want to point out is in this listing, you'll see a little orange box next to each publication. And what that orange box does is it allows you to create a journal alert to be alerted via email whenever the latest issue for Harvard Business Review becomes available. You would have to be logged in or signed in, or you must create an account for a personal MyEBSCO folder in order to get those email alerts. So creating that personal account captures your email address, and then you'll be able to create an alert that will go to your inbox whenever the latest issue of Harvard Business Review becomes available within Business Source Premier. Okay, so I'm going to cancel that alert and just quickly go back to the publication details for Harvard Business Review in this example. But there are many publications available within Business Source Premier, this one being one of the more popular ones. Once again, you have access to all issues and articles, searching within the publications, and of course the publication details. All right, so that's publication search. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was maybe accessing SWOT analyses. So we can conduct a search on the advanced search page. Maybe I'm interested in searching for a SWOT analysis for, let's say, American Express. So I've entered American Express company, and in the options for search options here, as we scroll down, I have the ability to limit by SWOT analyses. Do we have that under? Maybe I don't. I thought we did have it under publication type for some reason. Let's see. Source type, publication type, where are we? There we go, maybe under document type. No, I don't see it. That's odd. We should have access to it under source type, but let me go ahead and execute this. Maybe I'm just over looking at it too quickly. Let me slowly scroll down here. We have company reports, but not SWOT analyses, case studies. We don't have that. Let me actually execute this. Oh, there we go. Some business source databases have the options over in the browse function. My apologies. So on the browse section, instead of under the search options and limiters, there we go. SWOT analyses are available here by browse. So let me go ahead and select SWOT analyses in the browse section. And now we can take a look at browse by type SWOT analyses. And now this is where I'll enter American Express. Okay. And we'll click browse for SWOT analyses particularly. So there we go, the American Express company SWOT analysis. We'll click the hyperlink there. And this gives me access to all the different SWOT analyses for American Express, dating back to 2008 in this case. We'll go ahead and open up the most recent one that was published on March 12th, 2024. And there we go. So let's go ahead and access this PDF for the SWOT analysis for American Express company. And this is more than likely provided by MarketLine. So let's see. Yes, there goes the MarketLine report for American Express company, published on March 12th, 2024, the most recent. So there we go. SWOT analyses. All right, so I'm going to go back to the result list. Actually, I should go back to new search. Now that I know where all those extra areas to conduct research are, I'm going to go down to the browse option here below our search box and select actually, no, I don't want to do country reports or company profiles. I'll show you company profiles here if I want. There's a browse option. There's also a company profiles option in the top left navigation. Both do the same. So if I click company profiles, I can browse a company profile here. So I'm going to enter a company, science applications, and I can search alphabetically or by matching any words. I'll click browse. And the one that I was looking for is Science Applications International Corporation. Once again, a market line report for that company profile. Let me go ahead and click the name of the company, SAIC, which will provide some details. The company profile is provided. We've got an abstract of SAIC, the products and services that it delivers. And if I wanted to access related information, I can with the options hyperlinks here. I can conduct or view a SWOT analysis for this company, or I can view the market line report, this company profile. So I'll go ahead and click the PDF of the market line report, company profile for Science Applications International. All right. Similar to other PDFs, we're looking at a PDF of this market line report. Over to the far right, we do have our integration with OneDrive and all the other tools that we can enjoy in addition to accessing the persistent link once again. I can also save this by clicking the folder icon to my temporary session folder. So let me actually go back and clear this search. And I want to talk to you about search history. So for the session that I'm in, I have not logged out, I have not closed my browser, I have not shut down. So as long as I'm in a session as an end user, I can access my search history, which keeps track of all the activity I've conducted for my session. Search history will show me all of the searches I've conducted. So we can see the most recent search was the American Express Company SWOT analysis, the Harvard Business Review and Leadership, the earlier ones for transportation logistics. I have access to those searches. I can rerun a search, view the details, edit my search. I can also create a search alert. Remember that orange box when we created a journal alert, or I showed you how to create journal alerts? Well, we can also create search alerts to be alerted when new resources become available for the searches I've conducted. So if I created a very sophisticated query, I can then be alerted by frequency. So if I want to be alerted daily or weekly or monthly, I can select the frequency for articles published within the last year, no limit, 1 month, 6 months, or so forth. Once again, I would need to be signed into my personal EBSCO account, or I would need to create one in order to conduct this or execute this alert. But I'll go ahead and cancel out of this. So these are our searches, okay, within Business Source Premier. All right, so let me go back to the landing page, clear the search history, and let's see if we have any questions, because I think I've completed the overview here, covering the most important features of Business Source Premier. If you have a question that you'd like to ask, feel free to enter it in the chat. Or if you feel like unmuting yourselves to ask a question live, I appreciate any feedback or requests with the last few minutes we have for this session today. And while I wait for any comments or questions, what I will do is go to our support site, which is EBSCO Connect. It's a very easy URL to remember. It's connect.ebsco.com, and this is where you can get a lot of information for any of the resources to which you subscribe through EBSCO. So if you want more information on Business Source Premier, we will just conduct a search. So I'm actually going to execute the search. Some suggestions are presented, but I'll execute that search to see what else is available. It's going to then pull up all related resources from our knowledge base. So we can see that there is a quick video on Business Source, marketing and promoting Business Source, searching Business Source, and so forth. We also have access to tools and resources. Under tools and resources on EBSCO Connect, you can access promotional materials. So let's see if we have any promotional materials for Business Source Premier. I'll just enter Business Source in the promotion material search page and I'll execute it. We can also limit our resource type. So if I'm only interested maybe in posters, I could then click that tick box. But let's just see what's available for Business Source. So we see we have a number of small Business Source. There we go, a product button for Business Source Premier. And there are additional resources. We can continue scrolling. All right, so this is a way for us to access product help. So let me go back to the Connect page. There we go. We have over 132 resources related to Business Source here. But you can always find information on the Connect site. In addition to conducting a search, you can access our platform roadmap to see the new releases coming to our user interfaces. You can access our support. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, this is our status site, just so you know if you're interested in seeing our status site. This is also available on EBSCO Connect. All sites are operational, as you can see here. Didn't mean to do that, but under the need quick help, I quickly or accidentally click status alerts. But what I did want to click into is EBSCO support. So if you have any questions or are in need of additional assistance, you can always reach out to our support staff under the How Do I Contact EBSCO Support link on EBSCO Connect. All right, so let's see, we might have a comment in the chat. Oh, thank you, Marina. I'm glad that you enjoyed the overview of Business Source Premier, and I will be making this recording available for those who were not able to attend today's session. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now, and I will follow up with a link to the recording in addition to a link to some helpful resources from EBSCO Connect regarding Business Source Premier. So thank you for your time and attention.